All right, what's up? We got one shot at this. We got one opportunity. We're going to do our best. Is this on? Yep, it's on. Okay. This is just generally good cards. So I've been talking a lot about cheap cards, and even though nobody asked, I'm here now talking about more expensive cards. I bought a lot of these at a cheaper price point, and so my favorite thing to do is kind of talk about the cards that are like $20 and under, that whole area. That's where you see most of my videos. These are well over that, but I do think they have a lot of room to be even higher than that. The presented upside of these is always going to be a little bit lower, because obviously a $20 card can 5x to get to 100 a lot easier than a $100 card can 5x to get to 500. So don't expect these to be the most insane, crazy movement ever. We got our coaster today with a mic stand just to get a little bit louder sound. My sound's been a little quiet, so we're working on that. Anyways, thanks for sticking around. Charizard V-Star promo, first and foremost, $125 to $140. So this is a weird one because I'm going to make a comparison that might be a little silly. People are going to think I'm an idiot. I'm good with that, first of all. But the comparison is obviously with the Mewtwo from Crown Zenith. So this is the dual art. These two go together really nicely. And that Crown Zenith Mewtwo is $250 US, maybe even more at this point. I don't know. This Charizard's only 125 to 140. Before you get mad or start typing or whatever, the Charizard is obviously, I'm fully aware, a lot more common of a card than the Mewtwo. There's a lot less of the Mewtwo's than there is the Charizards, hence the Mewtwo being worth substantially more. With that said, Charizard is the Fire Lizard, okay? I need not say any more. This Fire Lizard is going to be worth a lot of money. The stupid boxes that they come in, I have only one of them, but I do have one of them. From 2021, I bought one for 100 Canadian dollars. Now it's 700 Canadian dollars. That's like monopoly money for you Americans. The Charizard is crazy. First of all, this is the best Charizard out of the three that come with this. That Charizard UPC is honestly still not a bad play at that whatever 600 US mark, but we're talking about the cards inside of it. That Charizard V-Star, such a good art. It's the dual for the Crown Zenith Mewtwo, and it will not, I'm confident, it will eventually catch up and settle closer to that Mewtwo. So I don't know for sure that it's going to be right there side by side, but the fact that right now you're looking at a 50% cheaper card for a Charizard, like the Fire Lizard, the face of the franchise lizard here, is crazy. There is going to be an increasing supply of both the Mewtwo and the Charizard V-Star. I'm fully aware of that. The Charizard V-Star supply is going to increase quicker than the Crown Zenith Mewtwo supply increases because it's a guarantee. But once or I shouldn't say once, it already is out of reach for most people. So that $700 UPC isn't getting ripped every day anymore, unless it's by rip and shipper people. Like, people are not just going, home after a nice day at work and ripping a $700 UPC. That's not the average experience. This UPC, as it goes up, this Charizard's going to go along for the ride. It's going to be more and more expensive. Let's slow down the rate of the supply is growing more and more. It'll never stop, obviously. I mean, no card ever does stop. But regardless, that's not true. There's promos that stop, but you don't need the specifics here. Great buy. I would recommend this. Do your own research. I'm just a guy on the internet, but alas. Vaporeon VMAX. I love this card. I think it's so interesting that we have this card in English. Is actually, I don't know specifically, but 10 times less valuable than its Japanese counterpart. So this is obviously a hit in the Japanese equivalent set. I forget the name of the actual set, but doesn't matter. I'm not huge in the Japanese world. I just have a little bit. So this Vaporeon VMAX is a massively rare card on the Japanese side, but we're fortunate enough to be able to get it out of a collection box on the English side. That tells me that the market demand in terms of artwork is that it's very good. It's got to $100 on the back of it being a guaranteed promo. We are getting into this range on the collection box that it's from, and once you get into that sort of $400 to $500 range, there's always a dramatic slowdown in terms of how much these things get ripped. They stop getting ripped by the average person so frequently. The value proposition gets worse for opening them. Right now, the value proposition is not bad. Like if you're looking in the box and you see that your Vaporeon's relatively well centered, you could take it out, take a stab at getting a 9 or a 10 on it, or on both of the promos, right? And then you got 4 Evolving Skies packs in it. That's not a bad value proposition to open. Hence why this card's still worth $100. But as these boxes get more expensive, this Vaporeon is going to be like ridiculous to decide to open. I see this in the same light as they're bigger, but the Deoxys tag team kind of promos now that are like whatever those boxes are. I'm trying to think in US dollars, $1,500 maybe more. People aren't just ripping that for the fun of it anymore, because as those promos in it became very valuable. I see this Vaporeon going down that same route. Totally my opinion, but the art's awesome. If you like the artwork, I would recommend getting this in like a PSA 9, because these things grade terribly. You pull them out, you might get a 7 or an 8 out of the box, which is incredible, unless you're the one trying to grade it. So if you get yourself a 9, it doesn't have much of a premium. I'm a big 9 guy because I think when you have a PSA 10, the sell pressure is always a lot more dramatic. And I don't believe this is ever really talked about. When you're holding a PSA 10 and you see it go up by that 10%, you've sunk so much money into it. You're like, I got to sell this now. I got to move along on this. And then if you do sell it, you made a little bit of money. Awesome. But what was the potential upside? Obviously, this is a very different, conversation. If you're doing business and you're just trying to churn and burn flip cards, that's not the same as what I'm talking about here. But regardless, we're going to move on to the next one. The next one is the Starmie V from Astral Radiance. I'm a big fan of Astral Radiance. I'm incredibly biased. So just keep that in mind. It's honestly one of my favorite Sword and Shield sets, which is crazy because everybody hates it. Apparently it's no good, but time will tell. Astral Radiance is a great set. It's a solid B tier set, in my opinion. Again, that's a hot take, but the general sentiment around this set is entirely based on, well, the price of the cards aren't that high, so this isn't a good set. That logic's so backwards to me, because once the cards start to get more recognition, and the people realize that, oh, this set actually has really good depth. Have people not actually looked at the set list when they're talking about Astral Radiance? I get Machiap's not the biggest name ever. I get the Origin Form, Palkia, Dialga aren't the biggest names ever. But these cards being as rare as they are at the price that they're at, this across the board there's not a bad pickup in the high end of Astral Radiance. Like not a single one I believe is a bad pickup right now. And including this Starmie, of course. So we've seen Misty's Psyduck go absolutely crazy. I believe this is a better card. It's a more rare card, right? So trainer galleries are for argument's sake, you can think about them as the halfway point between an SIR and IR. So they're not as rare as an SIR, but they're more rare than IRs. And you can go double check my work. What I'm saying, this is what the information, how I've interpreted it. So you can go look at pull rates and make sure that I'm right. But regardless, Starmie V, Astral Radiance, beautiful card. It's just a scene that's a lot of fun. And I think fun cards are worth having. Like fun cards are worth having. Again, near mint's good. PSA 9's even better for these types of cards because you know what you're getting. You don't need to go meet with somebody, you know exactly what you're getting. That's why I'm a big fan of, even if it's a Tag 9 or PSA 9, those are awesome. Awesome pickups. Highly consider it. Mimikyu V is the next one. This is the Brilliant Stars Trainer Gallery. Bizarrely, like every other Mimikyu has done really well. So you've got Mimikyu, the promo, the Paldean Fates, Paldean Fates promo from. Do I have it up here right now? No, I don't. From the ETB is very much gone on a run. Obviously, a Pokemon Center version, as per usual, has gone on more of a run than the non-Paldea or non-Pokemon Center version. But on top of that, this year has been a good year for the Sun and Moon Mimikyu. So the Mimikyus in general are doing really well. This one's done okay, so it's still up, whatever, 15, 20%, which, as crazy as this is to say, is a relatively tame, 6 months for Pokemon right now. Do not get used to these returns, people. We're in a stupid market. Make sure you're not over leveraged. Make sure you're important at work and you're not going to get fired anytime soon. Because if you're spending your work shift right now listening to my dumbass on the internet instead of being a good employee, you're probably thinking about this wrong. I love you though. Thanks for being here. Next one, Garchomp Astral Radiance again. Garchomp at $95 is a steal. And again, I'm biased to Astral Radiance, so you can tell me to myself and that. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I got to beep that out. You can tell me to kick rocks and all these things because Astral Radiance is a terrible set. But at the end of the day, just look at the card. I don't have any secret formula. I've had a really good track record. If you go look at some old videos of mine, just me yapping in my car, I've had some pretty good picks so far. I can't believe it, like how good they've been. Not in terms of just like good return, because everything's gone up, but just really good return, even in relativity to the rest of the market. There's been some insane movement. And people are, I think, over associating with sets right now, in my opinion, which sounds weird to say, but people want art. People want cards. This card has a relatively consistent good demand, and it's just one of those steady risers. Cynthia's a big name. Garchomp's a big name. Not a super hard card to get, which is nice because it is a trainer gallery. Like I said, it's not an alt art, making it a relatively easy card to get still. The supply will dwindle over time in terms of like who's going to be willing to move this card at $100. I don't think a lot of people are going to be willing to move this card at $100 when other Sword and Shield sets start to go. Because as soon as the bigger sets start to go, Astral Radiance is going to be your silver to the gold of the rest of the market. I don't believe that Astral Radiance is the best set by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know that the whole era is going to go up together. And once those other sets get further and further away and those cards get further and further away, people are going to be like coming back to Astral Radiance and going, oh, this set's actually really good. Like this is a solid set. Again, I'm a Gen 4, Gen 5 guy. I am biased, but take this with a grain of salt. Remember to like, remember to comment, remember to subscribe. And for doing all that, here's a picture of Floette. I have a special kind of tism, dude. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.